Welcome to Collections of Cinema.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to a brand new episode of
brand new episode.
Collections of Cinema, or COC in short, if you prefer that. If you prefer COC, then you can say that. We did not post an episode last week, but we already explained that we are probably not posting weekly now because time constraints and just things happening
and baby and all that.
Right. So, but still, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for supporting us. The way you do. So the best way is to spread the word, obviously, to help us gain new followers. Liking, subscribing, commenting, especially on YouTube, to get the algorithm going a little bit, and also head over to our Patreon where you can support us the most.
Yep. Which is what helps us probably the most, simply because we would love to make the podcast maybe more, I don't know, enjoyable to watch.
Not so boring,
for
just one angle. Yeah.
Right. So, we need equipment for that, obviously. And we don't have that equipment. So that's a great way to support us, is if you are on our Patreon and you get things when you join our Patreon. So
also, Bean is here.
Bean is always here.
The movie dog. Okay, so we watched Blade Runner 2049, which is the sequel to Blade Runner from 1982. Blade Runner, the original, came out in 1982, as I just said. Ridley Scott directed it, and it's an adaptation of the short story, or the novel, Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep by Philip K. Dick. And it's a dystopian sci-fi movie, which is funny because the first one is set in 2019. So that was already past our time. And the second one is, as the name says, set in 2049.
Yep.
So, the movie came out in 2017. It was directed by Denis Villeneuve. He's already basically famous or known for the Dune movies, Prisoners, Sicario, and tons of other movies that are phenomenal. And it's my opinion that he is not only one of the best directors out there right now, but also the most, I don't know, there is the Christopher Nolan movies that are just fun, and then the Denis Villeneuve movies that are fun but also thought-provoking.
I think Nolan movies have that too.
Just my opinion.
Not all Nolan movies, but a lot of his movies are like total mindfuck.
Yeah, it's just my opinion.
Okay, but you don't agree with that? You don't think that Nolan has
I think Nolan is the best blockbuster stuff, and Denis is blockbuster, but there's so much more to that.
Okay.
But it's just my opinion. But I think
we're not biting. Please.
It's a subjective matter, obviously.
Yeah.
So the movie came out in 2017. It cost 150 to 185 million, and the box office was 276 million.
It came out in 2017.
But it was
I would feel it would make more sense for them to I know it takes place in 2049, but wouldn't it have made more sense to surpass at least the date? Yeah, I'm putting it outside. To surpass the date that the first one originally was?
I mean, not really. I don't know. It makes... I don't know. I don't know what the reason was to release that movie. Then when it was released, I assume that it was talked about, they talked about a sequel probably a long time ago. So in the 1990s, a sequel already was, proposed, but it never happened. So, things happen sometimes, not for a long time.
Thank goodness they didn't make a sequel in the 1990s. It wouldn't have had nearly the same effect as this one did. I don't think.
Yeah. The thing is, I have not read the novels. I'm familiar with Philip K. Dick's work. I know some short stories. There are some series that are based on his stories, so I don't know how much of the movie story is actually in the novel or is just was written for the movie. So I don't know that, but it feels like the sequel feels very much deserving of it being here. Like it has its own place because the story is actually like it adds something new to the whole universe, to the whole aspect of the Blade Runner genre, or not genre, franchise, if you want to call it a franchise. The movie was a box office bomb because it grossed just 267 million. Yeah. And for it to break even, it would have needed $400 million, which is so nuts to me. Like, I don't understand how that movie did not make more money.
I don't either, especially having such big names like Harrison Ford to come back, and also Ryan Gosling.
Like, the critics loved the movie. The movie was got some Oscar awards, more nominations. Yeah, I don't know. It's so fucking weird.
Mm-hmm.
Like, sometimes you feel like, oh, this is a safe bet, and I guess the producers and the money givers of that movie also said, like, it's a safe bet to release a Blade Runner movie. Obviously, the first one is super old, but a lot of people know the movie. A lot of people grew up on that movie. A lot of people saw the first one in the theater, and they're still around. So you have a massive sci-fi fan base.
But on the other side of it too, there are people who have never seen Blade Runner, the first one, the original one, but you can still easily watch this one having no knowledge that a first one even exists, which I like about the movie.
They do a good job,
I mean, I have seen the first one, but it was so long. We watched it in high school for some reason. But I hated it then. I hated sci-fi, and it was very, from what I remember, very slow paced and very slow,
and there's so much. It's not your typical sci-fi action movie. It's very philosophical. That's the aspect of the story alone. And it's also very dystopian.
Yeah.
And just noir.
And I'm not so into the dystopian style. Not always. There are movies that have changed that a little bit for me, but in general. Yeah. So I didn't like it when we watched it in high school, but I was,
Okay, let's away. It's night now. Wow, how did that happen? Okay, let's go into the plot. Do you want to do that quick?
Yeah. So essentially, Ryan Gosling is what they call a Blade Runner.
Yeah.
So he's going to, they call it retire. So basically, get rid of, kill, take in, whatever, replicants who are like old models, or have like parts that aren't up to date or whatever, like that they're on their own.
Let's quickly just explain for the replicants are basically robots that are used for slave labor, and they're bioengineered humans, so robots, and they're on the first glimpse they don't look different than humans.
And Ryan Gosling himself is a replicant.
He's a replicant,
as are, I feel like, probably most of the people, but they're just,
I mean, from some of the people we don't know, but yeah. And
so when he goes to collect or retire a replicant, he finds buried in the ground, right, like a box
of remains.
Yeah, and they were able to basically see that a replicant had a child.
Yeah.
And that is kind of how it plays into his story. So he has like these memories that he feels are implanted memories, because all of replicants have their memories are implanted memories. But turns out that his are real memories.
Just one more thing that's important here. So basically, he gets from his superior the order to kill the replicant child. Because they fear that there would be a war between humans and replicants.
So he's supposed to find the child, and
so they should not talk about
them.
The fact that a replicant had a baby at some point.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe you continue then.
So basically he then starts the search for that child,
who's now not a child, obviously, anymore.
She's a woman now, a young woman. It's been 30 years. Yeah. And he then eventually stumbles upon her. And he also stumbles upon her dad, who is Rick Deckard, who is played by Harrison Ford from the first movie. And he then decides not to kill the replicant child, but go rogue more or less against the companies. The company who makes the replicants, it was their decision essentially to kill the replicant's child.
But part of the reason he decides to go rogue is because he finds out that he is a replicant of that child.
Yeah.
So the memories that he has are her memories, or technically real memories. They're his real memories, I guess.
No, she made those memories based on her memories. Yeah. So she is one of those people who makes.
She's a dream. What do they call it?
Yeah, she dreams up the
creates
memories.
Dreams for people.
Yeah. So the movie. It's
like kind of his sister, but not really.
Not really. But he's connected to her through the memories. And as you maybe can already tell, the movie is very complex. There are a lot of themes that are talked about in the movie or not talked about in the movie. There are a lot of philosophical themes. There is obviously good versus evil. There are conflicts, and I feel like that movie is, and I almost can say that with certainty, with all of Denis Villeneuve's movie that you need to watch more than once to get everything, to grasp everything. There's so much going on. At the same time, the movie is very slow, but it takes time to develop the characters. It takes time to fully immerse the world, to explain the world, how it works, to explain his character, because he's not just a cop or a replicant cop. He also has like this relationship with this AI character. Yeah. There's so much to the movie, and honestly, I'm, as I already said at the beginning of the podcast, I'm still kind of mind boggled by the fact that that movie flopped in the box office. Not to say that has anything to do with its quality or how good or bad the movie is. Sometimes it just happens, and it was circumstantial, I guess. Whatever happened during the year or in the time frame that movie came out. But thankfully, since it came out, it developed obviously a cult following, and people, I feel like, calling it one of the most beautifully shot sci-fi movies ever made. Roger Deakins is the cinematographer of the movie, and it's insane what they did. There are some scenes, Denis Villeneuve knows how to fucking shoot things. He knows how to make things feel big and massive, and just knows how to portray scale super well, and also colors. Like he plays a lot with the colors of the movie and certain scenes, and it's such a beautiful movie, and for that alone, I think it's worth watching. And we have the beautiful 4K disc here. I currently just upgraded to the 4K one because I had the regular one, but I knew I wanted to have that one in 4K, and it's a beautiful movie.
I mean, a lot of really big movies came out in 2017.
Like?
Okay. We've got, for example, Blade Runner. We've got The Greatest Showman was really big.
Yeah.
Call Me By Your Name. Wind River. It was massive when it came out. Get Out.
Yeah.
Kingsman. Baby Driver. Beauty and the Beast. Spider-Man Homecoming. Valerian. A ton. Dunkirk.
Okay.
A ton of big
really
movies. Thor Ragnarok.
Okay.
A lot of really big movies came out. Logan Lucky, 3 Billboards. It was really good year. Guardians 2, Florida Project.
Oh, wow. So I assume, I mean, it's sci-fi.
Shape of Water.
So I assume that it came out around a Marvel movie. And I assume that that Marvel movie was Thor. That's just my assumption right now.
There were also, I mean, Wonder Woman also came out. I mean, there were tons of
so
really big blockbuster movies that year.
I think they just took away a lot of the steam of the movie.
It was sadly. A big movie year.
I mean, Hans Zimmer did the soundtrack or the score, and he took over from Johan Johansson, and it just like the score alone adds so much to the atmosphere. Like when there's the shot through like the neon lighted town, and you see the car flying through, and then the score to it, and it's just so it's so cool. It's such a cool cyberpunk movie. It's so fucking cool. I mean, obviously the movie plays or depicts a lot of themes that are like, what does it mean about being human? I mean, that's the whole Blade Runner thing in general, or the replicant thing. Like, what does it mean to be human? Do they have souls? That's the whole point of like dreaming and giving them memories and stuff like that. And then also the fact that that woman or that replicant gave birth to a replicant baby, which then also bears the question, okay, how different are they from human beings? Obviously can be controlled, they can be turned off, and they can be replicated because they're made. But it's a very cool movie.
Yeah.
I don't want to go through all the social commentary. Even like, there's so much stuff that is like, in terms of sexuality, prostitution is a big thing. Misogyny is a big part in that movie. The slave topic, obviously, like, you know, there's so much to the whole movie. And again, I think it's a movie that you should watch more than once, because you can't grasp the whole theme. You can't grasp everything with just watching it once.
I have some trivia.
Yeah.
David Bowie was the director's first choice for the role of Neander Wallace, who's played by Jared Leto.
Oh, that's cool.
But he died 6 months before the start of shooting, and Jared Leto was cast instead because of his similar rock star vibe.
That would have been cool, though. Even though I like Jared Leto in the role, I have to say.
I have maybe an unpopular opinion, and I don't like Jared Leto. Just in general.
I'm not a huge Jared Leto fan, but I like him in that role, and I really like him in Dallas Buyers Club.
Which I have not seen.
He's phenomenal in the movie. He has some movies that he's just really, like Morbius, like top tier movie. No, what are you talking? You didn't even listen.
Sorry, something about Morbius. Did
you just see that?
Morbius was not top tier. I heard you, but I was reading something at the same time.
Yeah, I agree.
But I still heard you because, look, I processed it.
Yeah, like 5 minutes later.
5 minutes.
There's also Blade Runner 2099 coming, a series.
A series?
Yep. I think it's releasing this summer on Prime, actually. And it's a sequel, and it sounds kind of cool. So, yeah.
Okay. But who, like, no, like, names attached to it? No, like...
Yeah. It's shot already, I think, or part of it. Michelle Cho, the Asian actress.
Okay.
Malaysian, actually. Hunter Schafer is in it. Tom Burke. Yeah, no, it's a great cast. And yeah, it's coming out. Wait, do I have some date here? It's a mini-series, so it's not going to have a second season. That's cool. They filmed already last year in Prague, and yeah, it will come out this year. There's no date yet, but it's currently in post-production. Yeah. Now it's again, the movie is. I feel like the movie is a very cool example for a sci-fi movie that is not just glimmer, blockbuster like Interstellar, for example. Interstellar has also very cool themes, but it's more blockbustery. It's more action cinema in the sci-fi world, while this movie is more drama, thriller, noir, like super dark.
Yeah.
At times, it has some fun elements, but mostly it's very dark, and it also is kind of depressing at times. But that just plays all into this dystopian.
I mean, alone his relationship that he has, it's so sad.
It's like really sad. Yeah,
it's sad because
and even the ending
you feel
really
like
sad.
Both of them, even though she's like kind of not real, but she is. Yeah. Like even like her desire to want to be able to touch him and his clear desire to want to be able to touch her is very sad. Yeah. I have a funny trivia.
No, wait, just one more. No, keep going. It's fine. Go
ahead. While shooting a fight scene, Harrison Ford accidentally punched Ryan Gosling in the face. As an apology to his co-star, Ford invited Gosling to share a bottle of Scotch whiskey with him and mooned him. Yeah.
Yeah, he had him on accident, and I think that is in the... there's no bloopers, but behind the scenes they have to take on the behind the scenes where he hit him on accident. Yeah. You don't have to see the first one, as you already said at the beginning.
You don't, no.
I still would highly recommend the first one, but the problem with the first one is that there's so many different versions. And like there is the theatrical cut, and then there's like the final cut, and then there's the director's cut or the extended cut. So I can't even tell you what like the best version is. I think I've seen the final cut, and I think I've seen the theatrical cut. But I mean, you can just Google it or go on Reddit and see what people say about the thing. But for a 1982 movie, it's very cool. It's very stylized. Rutger Hauer is in it as the evil guy. And it's a very cool 80s sci-fi movie. It's cringy a little bit.
It's very cringy.
But it's still a very cool movie.
But probably not cringy when it came out. You know, it was like very futuristic when it came out. Did you know that there are 3 short films that fill the gap between the 2 movies?
Yeah, I did actually.
Did you really?
I had that on my Wikipedia.
Yeah. So they each depict a pivotal moment in the backstory. So Blade Runner Blackout 2022, which was from 2017, is the first in chronological order. It deals with the blackout referred to in the movie. 2036 Nexus Dawn, also in 2017, show how Neander Wallace succeeds in reviving the replicant industry. And in 2048, Nowhere to Run, Sapper Morton is identified, which kicks off this movie's plot.
Yeah, Sapper Morton is the first guy.
The first guy. The last 2 films were directed by Luke Scott, Sir Ridley Scott's son.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Again, I would highly recommend watching Blade Runner if you've not seen it. Watch both. They're great sci-fi movies. And that's it. Do you have something else to add?
I don't think so. Now we have movie of the week.
Yeah.
Right? Unless you have something else to add.
The movies are up here on the Blu-ray.
Oh.
The short films. Yeah, movie of the week. Let's go.
Movie of the week.
It's a little hard because since we didn't do one last week, we have a lot of movies. So I'm just going still back 7 days. And we have starting Red Rooms, Old School, The Town, Better Man, and Julie and Julia. I mean, to me, I would say Red Rooms, actually.
Let me think for a second. Red Rooms, and there was another. Wait, say the third one again?
The Town.
I really like that movie, I have to say.
Yeah, I love The Town. It's a great movie.
But from like a, I don't know, cinematic standpoint, I would say Red Rooms.
The thing is, The Town is very...
Like, I mean, it's blockbuster action.
Blockbuster action, but it also...
But I like... I don't know.
It has great storytelling.
Yeah,
great
I agree.
But Red Rooms kind of took me a little by surprise.
Yeah.
and it's such a cool, weird movie. So let's do Red Rooms.
Okay.
So Red Rooms came out in 2023. Is a Canadian French movie. Canadian French movie. And the high-profile case of a serial killer, Ludovic Chevalier, has just gone to trial, and Kellyanne is obsessed when reality blurs with her morbid fantasy. She goes down a dark path to seek the final piece of the case's puzzle. I mean, essentially, it's a courtroom drama mixed with psychological thriller, I would say.
I would say it's more psychological thriller, but because there's not that much courtroom time.
I didn't say that.
Yeah.
But it's more psychological thriller than courtroom drama, but that those two genres are
but
mixed
like mystery, I would say more like psychological thriller mystery, because she's trying to like solve what happened kind of for her own weird.
So it's a crime stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very dark movie, and
very dark.
It doesn't, like, it plays with heavy shit. But the cool thing about the movie is it doesn't show you anything.
Yes, which I appreciated.
But I feel like that is sometimes, and that it's when you think of horror movies, it's more powerful sometimes to not show anything, because the mind makes up the pictures, and you hear things and you see reactions, and that alone is horrifying. And that movie, like, there's some scenes that are hard to watch.
There was, I mean, without giving too much away, the plot is that there is a guy on trial. He is on trial for the murder of 3 women.
Okay, yeah.
But not women, children actually.
Yeah,
13, I think 13, 14, and 16 or something like that.
They're pretty young. The youngest one was 13.
13.
Yeah.
But like very brutal murder. And he created videos of these murders and like live streamed them.
It's about on the dark web and super illegal shit and stuff like that. Yeah.
And so they're just trying to prove that it's him. Essentially, that's what the trial is. Yep. And this model is just there because she is fascinated by the story, I guess, or with him, or who knows. Yep. Meets a woman who is also fascinated with him, but in a more infatuated way.
Yeah, she's like a groupie, essentially.
Yeah. And their paths just kind of cross, and I don't know, it's a weird story of friendship in a way between the two of them, but then also a very weird story of like trying to figure out what the main woman, like what her motives are and like what she wants out of it. It's very strange.
It's a very but that's kind of cool.
It's cool
because it plays with a lot of expectations, I guess, that you would have in movies like that, but then goes a different direction, and you don't really fully have a sense of why the main actress is doing the stuff she does.
Even at the end,
like,
you don't know.
You understand her sometimes a little bit, and you can assume, but you don't really know, and that kind of is really interesting. It also is kind of like a little playing with the fascination of people with murder cases, like with real life documentaries and stuff like that, where people get so obsessed about true crime stuff. And that is also a massive theme in the movie, and I feel like it depicts that really well because it's very realistic, I would say, and I feel like that is exactly the reason why that movie is so powerful. And I just have to quickly also say the beginning, like the first 15 minutes, are fucking nuts. Like the first, where we are we basically start in the courtroom and they explain what happens and set up the whole movie. And it's just a one shot, and it's so fucking powerful how the camera moves through the fucking court. It's so fucking insane. And that alone just, the movie is really cool. It's a very, very dark movie, just but really cool.
Trigger warning. It's at times, very, very hard to watch. And even for me, somebody who thrives off of true crime type stuff, or just especially courtroom dramas. I fucking love courtroom dramas. But I love that genre of movie. But even I had to at some point mute we had headphones on, each of us, and I had to turn the volume completely off on my headphones for a solid 3 minutes.
No, trigger warning for sure. Yeah. That's it, everybody. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening.
On that happy note.
Until next week.
Or the week after. Whenever we're back. Bye.